lose that punch. Woo-hoo! Woo-hoo! I love it. Champ, gonna need a new hand. We'll be eating tonight.
Time. I mean, what he won world titles in what, 8 divisions?
8 divisions, 13 or 14 world titles.
Crazy.
It will never be done again.
Crazy.
And as much as you want to see records broken, and I want to break records, that man is a one of one.
He's a one of one.
Yeah.
I mean, when he knocked down Thurman in that fight, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This guy's 40 years old and still can crack and still as fast as lightning.
Yeah, the power that he possesses, but it's not a thumping power.
After the training footage where Manny Pacquiao hurt his coach badly in training went viral, Joe Rogan commented on what he felt about Pacquiao's return to the ring at 46. According to the UFC commentator, Pacquiao is getting untamed, and it's not in any way a display of skill, but a show of his weaknesses and rustiness. Let's talk about Manny Pacquiao, Joe Rogan said.
I think definitely the greatest boxer maybe in my generation, but not the best fighter. I would say the best, brawler boxer type fighter, Manny Pacquiao, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Destroyer.
Manny Pacquiao. He
fucking just
won
a
world
destroyer.
titles in 8 different weight time. I mean, he won world titles in what, 8 divisions?
8 divisions, 13 or 14 world titles.
Crazy.
It will never be done again.
Crazy.
And as much as you want to see records broken, and I want to break records, that man is a one of one.
He's a one of one.
Yeah.
I mean, when he knocked down Thurman in that fight, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This guy's 40 years old and still can crack and still as fast as lightning.
Yeah, the power that he possesses, but it's not a thumping power.
That man is one of my all-time greats, but he's getting it all wrong with this comeback. I just heard that he just hit his trainer so badly in training. I know power is the last thing to go. The punches and the speed are still clear, but don't forget he'll get hurt too. Mario Barrios isn't a coach holding the punching pads. He'll throw his hands too. It's really sad. But that wasn't all from Joe Rogan, the man who hosts the podcast. The Joe Rogan Experience continued his rant against Manny Pacquiao for some more minutes, insisting that so much wasn't even right about Manny Pacquiao's comeback. Fans were quick to jump on his social media comment section to share their views on this subject.
Yeah.
And it's
Seeing him beat Keith Thurman at 40 years old, like, god damn, this guy's great. I mean,
Right.
just look at his career with 8 different weight classes, world titles
8.
in 8 different weight classes. 40 years old, beats Keith Thurman, who's in his prime.
Right.
Crazy. I mean, what a man. I mean, what a world champion.
Well,
And
he sure turned back down.
The thumping power is that explosive speed, that explosive power, the footwork he gets in position, and all of a sudden he's landed 3, 4, 5 shots and then he's angled off. A lot like I did in my fight against Lopez. A lot of that, sparring paid off, and it did shape me. And I know he did put out a tweet as well, saying that I hope the sparring we did, helped you in this fight, and straight away.
that's amazing.
And I was so excited. He's a legend of the sport.
He is a legend, and he's such an unusual guy. You know what's crazy about him is his calves.
Yeah.
I share this view too. I don't feel Manny has any business in the ring. Not every case will be like George Foreman's. Not everyone is Bernard Hopkins. He done his powerful comeback 6 years ago. He shouldn't be pressured to top that, really, a fan commented. The next fan countered Joe Rogan, saying, "Man, we're talking about boxing's only 8 division world champion here. He hasn't only shown he can defy the odds of weight classes, he has also gone against age to defeat Keith Thurman in the past. Barrios is way easier than Keith Thurman, as we know this result already."
the way he did it,
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Cotto. I love this school, and the way that he beat Cotto, I didn't think nobody could ever do that to him. It was just like,
A third wrote, "I don't like the risks it poses on Manny Pacquiao too. I just think he'll have his way around Barrios and set another unbreakable boxing record." Lastly, this fan said, "Floyd always said that boxing will retire Manny. Part of greatness is knowing when to step down. I'm sorry, but Manny doesn't know that. And it's little things like this place him behind Floyd Mayweather in the GOAT debate."
bro, what the fuck?
Well, his legs, Manny's legs are like tree trunks.
Yeah. And the
It's
hand
crazy.
speed, the power. you know.
speed, everything.
I just always wish that the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight would have took place many years before than when it did, you know.
Well, it also took place in Manny winning. Dude,
Right.
once he steps through that ropes, like this is a whole different set of rules he's
Yeah.
flying with.
Like
Yeah.
Keith Thurman talking about you gonna crucify him and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and he just
Ooh,
like
don't say that. Yeah,
and got crucified.
yeah, but he's super
I wish you the
religious
best.
too.
Good luck in that fight.
After nearly 4 years out of the spotlight, boxing legend Manny Pacquiao has reignited the combat sports world with a stunning comeback announcement. At 46, the Filipino icon is set to challenge World Boxing Council welterweight champion Mario Barrios in a high-stakes bout scheduled for July 19th at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Breaking the news via his official account, Pac-Man declared, "I'm back." On July 19th at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Let's make history. The revelation instantly sent shockwaves through both boxing and MMA circles. While fans buzzed with excitement, many experts and commentators voiced concern over Manny Pacquiao's age and the risks of returning to elite competition so late in his career.
When you look
Massive.
at that, they're giant. They're like a thigh.
And I know the reason why, because in General Santos, the mountains that he runs and that steep hill, that's why they're so big, because he's always constantly running the mountains. And I was doing the mountain runs with him.
Yeah.
My calves started getting bigger and bigger. But I understand, why his calves are huge. But he's always bouncing, he's always moving around.
Yes.
Like he'll bounce for like 20-something rounds. He'll do his pads and he's jumping up and down, and he really is.
One such reaction came from NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who appeared on episode 2325 of the Joe Rogan Experience and expressed disbelief. That's kind of crazy. He's 46 years old. Joe Rogan, however, took a more skeptical stance. Rather than dismissing the comeback, he hinted at the possibility of PED use. He's not going to come back at 46 on the match, I guarantee you. The podcaster went on to reflect on Pac-Man's storied career, which spans 8 weight classes, while also casting doubt on the authenticity of his physical transformation over the years. Yeah, I mean, boxing has always had a PED issue, he noted. He then drew comparisons to MMA and the UFC in particular, where stricter drug testing protocols have changed the landscape.
Let's go.
He's an unbelievable person, unbelievable athlete, and a legend of the sport. I think as time progresses, people are really gonna appreciate his greatness.
Yeah, and coming back from defeats too. I mean, he's a guy that's had his downs.
Yeah.
He's had his ups and his downs, and he always.
When Rodgers asked, why did they stop doing that or change the weight classes? Joe Rogan shifted focus to the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, crediting it with cleaning up UFC to a significant extent. To illustrate his point, the podcaster brought up former UFC heavyweight star Alistair Overeem, whose dramatic physical transformation before and after USADA testing became a cautionary tale. Alistair Overeem is the greatest example. Alistair, when he fought Brock Lesnar, got drug tested, and he was saucy as hell. When he flexed on stage, that's when he was Ubereem, 260, solid as hell, ripped, and just one of the more elite strikers on planet Earth. And Brock was damned. And they make him take the PED test, and he becomes a normal person with good fighting skills. I mean, he wasn't the Ubereem anymore, this destroyer. At UFC 141, Alistair Overeem ended Brock Lesnar's night in just one round with a devastating liver kick that left the former WWE star reeling. More than a year has passed since the UFC and USADA went their separate ways, bringing an end to a partnership that had grown increasingly strained. The split, often seen as a drawn-out standoff, raised doubts about the future of anti-doping measures in MMA. Still, Joe Rogan continues to criticize USADA's legacy and its influence on the sport. While Rogan typically has a nuanced take when it comes to PEDs, he has made it clear he believes there are situations where these substances should be allowed.
And always friendly to people. It's like he's so admirable just as a human being.
And it shows too that defeats, I love how the UFC is, losses are losses.
Yeah.
Boxing has this stereotype where the zero is so important. I'm on
So, what's the exception that might justify their use? Let's dig a little deeper. You have to work on your wrestling, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. There's not enough time in the day, and there's not enough time to recover. So that's when Dr. Feelgood comes in. He comes along and bang, said Joe Rogan back in 2015, during a time when USADA was ramping up testing on some of the UFC's biggest names, including Anderson Silva, John Jones, and most recently at that time, Hector Lombard. The podcaster called the widespread steroid use in combat sports an epidemic. Despite this, Joe Rogan has never been completely against PEDs in sports. Even back in 2015, he supported their use for recovery and post-surgery rehabilitation, emphasizing the need for fighters to properly heal.
When Manny is also like a world-class pool player.
Well, he's got the pool tables at his mansion in his house.
He's really good.
So he's non-stop.
Like he plays like a professional.
And he loves his basketball.
Yeah,
you should see
I heard
this guy
he's great at basketball
shooting
too.
threes. It's unbelievable.
Wow, he's a serious athlete.
Yeah.
Did training with him? Did you make any changes to the way you approach fights or the way you prepare for fights after training with him?
I did. I learned the 1%ers, the extra bit to do the extra round.
Jump ahead to 2025, and the situation hasn't changed much. The relationship between UFC and USADA remains tense, especially after controversies involving testing protocols for Conor McGregor as he recovered from a serious injury. Dana White openly criticized how McGregor was treated, and Rogan, who has long championed science-based advances in athlete recovery, spoke out once again. On episode 2285 of his podcast, while talking with Andrew Schultz, Rogan recounted how USADA banned UFC fighters from using stem cell therapy to speed recovery. He said, "Well, let me tell you something. There's a reason why USADA didn't let people use it in the UFC, and now Dr. G Free Sports don't let people use it. It's because it works. It's really stupid, but the idea is that it's performance enhancing because it lets you heal quicker, heal from injuries quicker, potentially heal from recovering from training quicker."
Usually before the sparring with Manny Pacquiao, you do your 8 rounds or your 10 rounds of pads and you're sparring, but that's it. You do your ab work and you finish. With him, he does his pad work, he does his sparring, but then he's on the bag, he's on the shadow boxing, he's there doing the pad work. So that extra rounds just builds that conditioning and that stamina, and that's what I just found, that push more rounds. If the body can keep going, push.
Truly, Manny Pacquiao being intense with his training sessions like he never left. Mere days into the training camp for his questionable comeback and July fight with Mario Barrios, Pacquiao seems to have a swarm of videographers following him wherever he goes. He is 46 years old now and will almost surely look it in the ring against Barrios, 30. But people can't get enough of Manny. Fight Hype published a video on Friday in which a pack of content creators coalesced around Pacquiao to ask him about Terence Crawford's September 13th super middleweight fight with Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Manny, any advice on Crawford moving up in weight? You did it so many times. Any advice for Crawford moving up in weight? You did it so many times and you were successful. What do you tell Crawford? Any advice?
My advice to him is just focus on speed and the speed and style, and also strength.
Pacquiao looked fairly uninterested, seeming more eager to take a picture with a fan than to provide answers to the media. Still, the group got off a few questions. What advice did Pacquiao, as a veteran weight class jumper himself, have for the smaller Crawford? "Make sure to focus on speed," Pacquiao said. "That's a problem when you're moving up, your speed and power." Not for Pacquiao, it wasn't. Despite starting his career as a malnourished flyweight, Pacquiao had world-level success across 8 weight classes and did so with an aggressive style. Though Joshua Clottey and Antonio Margarito had huge size advantages over him, Pacquiao was the aggressor in those fights, flitting in and out like a bloodlusted hummingbird and lighting up his opponents with fast combinations. Still, his point is well taken. Pacquiao did stop scoring knockouts eventually, and speed in the ring is crucial, not only on offense but to avoid the bigger man's blows in return. By the end of the video, Pacquiao had his team and the camera toters in stitches. He hasn't lost his jolly nature, his sense of humor, or his generosity with fans. What he probably has lost is the speed and power he talked about moments earlier. It has been 16 years since Manny Pacquiao fought his next opponent, Mario Barrios, a substantial difference in any field, and more so in boxing, where it matters a lot. That is the main concern of many in the return to the ring of the native of General Santos, Philippines. And it is no small thing that people as close to him as Bob Arum, promoter and personal friend of Pac-Man, think and say so bluntly. He's an incredible person, Manny Pacquiao, and if anyone can do it, it's him. But I'm really worried, given his age and inactivity, said the Top Rank owner, who described the Filipino as the best fighter I've ever seen. At 46 years of age, Pacquiao is coming off a 4-year layoff and will star, all things being equal, in a bout like Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, but with a real boxer who, although not to the liking of people like Ignacio Beristain, does represent a risk because of the simple factor of the age difference. In the Filipino boxers' camp, they know this well, and it seems that they have prioritized certain factors in their training to be able to cope with adversity if it arises. So a short statement from a member of Pacquiao's team to Elias Sekbach says a lot about how they see the fight, in which the World Boxing Council Welterweight World Championship will be at stake. Justin Fortune, Pacquiao's strength and conditioning coach, and Buboy Fernandez, Pacquiao's manager, were present at the scene where Sekbach was present to collect statements, but it was an assistant trainer who ended up giving him the scoop when questioned about the strategy and his prediction. "It will go 12 rounds, he said succinctly. So from that statement, it can be assumed that his own team does not trust that Pac-Man can finish the fight early. So instead of a 400-meter race, they have gone on to think of a real marathon. The question is whether Pacquiao will have enough gas. One of the most accomplished boxers of his generation, and one of only 3 men in history to become an undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes during the 4-belt era, has caused a stir by unveiling his list of the 5 greatest boxers of all time. During an appearance on the For Me podcast, hosted by Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, Crawford revealed his selections.
I don't got Manny Pacquiao top 5.
You
Reason
don't?
why he's not up there.
But
You
why?
should know that reason.
It's your interview.
Man, Manny's a generational talented fighter. Like, he's accomplished what no other fighter is ever going to accomplish.
For me, you've got Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Marvin Hagler, and Roberto Duran. This list, which highlights some of the most legendary names in boxing history, has sparked significant debate, particularly due to Ali's absence. The omission of Muhammad Ali, a globally revered figure in the sport, has raised eyebrows among fans and analysts alike. Crawford, whose own career is laden with groundbreaking achievements, has presented a personal and unique perspective on greatness in boxing.
Accomplished. Yeah. Again, but I don't feel like, he did it on his own. That's me personally, because for the simple fact, when Floyd made it a point for him to do the blood test, he didn't want to do the blood test. But then when he did do the...
Host Cejudo also expressed surprise at the omission of Manny Pacquiao, another boxer whose career has garnered widespread admiration. Crawford offered a candid explanation for his choices. Manny's a generational fighter who is very talented. Like, he has accomplished what no other fighter is ever going to accomplish. But I don't feel like he personally did it all on his own. That's my opinion. Terence Crawford's list reflects his personal view of what defines greatness in boxing. His decision to leave out Ali and Pacquiao underscores the subjective nature of such lists, as different boxers prioritize various aspects of the sport.
The 5 greatest of all time, pound for pound.
Ooh, you got Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran.
You don't put Manny up there. That's
The controversy surrounding Crawford's list raises important questions about what constitutes greatness in boxing. Is it the accumulation of titles and records, as seen with Pacquiao? Or is it about dominance, technique, and style, as exemplified by Mayweather? Crawford's own remarkable career, particularly his ability to unify titles across multiple weight classes, adds depth to the conversation. His choices, though contentious, reflect his personal understanding of the sport and his respect for its nuances, making his perspective a compelling part of the ongoing debate about the greatest boxers of all time. Pacquiao is the only boxer to win world championships in a record 8 weight divisions, while he was also the oldest welterweight world champion in history at the age of 40 in 2019. A Filipino senator from 2016 to 2022, Pacquiao had retired from boxing in 2021, while he also ran for president in 2022. The Southpaw, who has 62 wins, 8 losses and 2 draws in a 72-fight career, was also elected to the International Boxing Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2025. Barrios, a Mexican-American boxer, has 29 wins in 32 bouts, winning 18 by knockout and losing twice. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.